Some stories like Sneezy the Snowman we read in books, but there are a lot of stories that you actually can't find in books, like the stories of our own lives and where we come from. They might not be as perfect and tied up as with a bow as some of the stories in books, like Sneezy the Snowman. Now I want to read this book. But each of us is like a book in our own way, containing all of kinds of stories that are within us. We pass on these stories as well in all kinds of ways, sometimes with details and sometimes without. Sometimes we try to pass on the stories and it doesn't quite work. And the stories change, of course, as we pass them on. They never stay the same, like that game of telephone where you whisper into the ear of the person next to you and see what the phrase is like when it goes around the whole circle. I wonder what stories you have been told by parents or grandparents or others about the traditions of your family and your people. I wonder how you try to pass on these stories. I wonder what stories we are creating right now. Each of us has these stories. We are shaped by those who came before and by all that we hope to pass on. We contain within us the triumphs and mistakes, the joy and the trauma, the ignorance and the wisdom of our ancestors, of those who raised us and those who raised them. All of this becomes a part of our identity in a soul-deep kind of way. Not just where we are from, but also who we are. Today, 3 of us are going to share the I Am From poems that we have written. And then we'll invite you into a communal writing exercise as we explore the diversity of where we came from. All of us ended up here in this virtual space together. And yet we come from so many different places. We carry with us so many different histories. We'll take a moment today to honor that diversity by hearing just a few of our stories.
Where I'm from. I am from rotary dial phones and chrome and linoleum. I am from backyard ball fields and the smell of grass, sweat, and dirt on my skin. I am from the sturdy young maple whose limbs held me aloft as I read my first book. I am from Sunday suppers and dinner table discourses, from Ellery and Paul and Great Aunt Sybil. I'm from long noses and short tempers, from cross-country road trips. I'm from Once Upon a Time, and This Too Shall Pass, and Jimmy Crack Corn. I'm from night skating on Milton Lake. I'm from New Jersey and Scotland and overcooked beef. From the horse in Dad's bedroom and a reverence for learning. Up in the attic, in an ancient old shoebox, piles of pictures holding my history, revealed stories untold.
Where I'm from. I'm from blue wrappered Tootsie Roll Pops, from the smell of Folgers, good to the last drop. I am from crouching at the top of the stairs, listening in to the hushed adult affairs. I am from Sunday bagels, not Sunday mass. I am from the trenches of silence, and the past is past. I am from the city of New York, not Berlin or Prague or County Cork. I am from business sense, Brooklyn born, self-reliance, Long Island strong. I am from veterans, proud in uniform, from rage and illness ashamed to mourn. I am from sticks and stones. What a pretty smile. I am from nya 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 nya, and being an obedient child. I am from public schools described as a salad mixed or a melting pot, the myth of Dr. King's dream realized. Not. I am from my first kisses with boys, then girls. I am from conversations about coming out had and avoided. I am from quietly tailoring down my desires with scissors given to me by society. I am from a family, a neighborhood, a people who could never have imagined accepting me. I am from learning to cry, to love, to fail, then rage, then fight, sometimes prevail. I am from learning to remember and learning to forget, from learning to imagine the things I needed and didn't get. I am from a conviction that I am here to change. I am from a devotion I cannot always explain. And I am from a deep knowing that I am not alone, and a longing inside, questing for home. I am from. Now, for most of us, the past is mixed with joys and sorrows. And for some of us, the past is a place of silence and erasure. I am queer, and in coming out to myself as queer when I was a teenager, I defied the imagination of my family's ancestors. I have no childhood memories of anyone with a sexual orientation like mine. I was the first not straight person I knew who wasn't a character on a TV show or a tragic figure in a news story. And the first time I met ordinary lesbian, gay, bi, queer, and transgender people was when I got to college at NYU in the fall of 2000. The isolation of being alone in my queerness as a teenager, the silence and the erasure, that was terrifying and depressing. And meeting my queer ancestors has helped me to heal that pain. The first queer ancestor who spoke to me was Audre Lorde. Audre Lorde describes herself as a Black lesbian mother warrior poet. A writing professor, Stacy Pies, the first out lesbian teacher I ever knew, introduced me in my first year of college to Lorde's essay, The Transformation of Silence into Language and Action. I returned to this essay again and again for guidance in my life about power and courage. At the time of writing it, Lorde was ill with cancer and considering her mortality. She wrote, quote, "I was going to die, if not sooner than later, whether or not I had ever spoken myself. My silences had not protected me. Your silence will not protect you. But for every real word spoken, for every attempt I had ever made to speak those truths for which I am still seeking, I had made contact with other women while we examined the words to fit a world in which we all believed, bridging our differences." End quote. Well, I found my way to you, to Unitarian Universalism, because of seeking communities where my truth can be heard and held. A place where I would not be expected to keep silent. Where I trust you to hear me and believe that as a queer and genderqueer person that I am worthy of dignity. In becoming a Unitarian Universalist in my early 20s, I sought people who together imagined a world in which we all believed, a world of possibility, of bridges, not walls, of rich tunes and hues of expression, not silence and blankness. I believe our ancestors are our teachers, and we are also responsible to them. I feel a responsibility to my first queer ancestor, Audre Lorde, Black, lesbian, poet, warrior, mother, to adopt anti-racist and anti-oppression practices and expect the same of the communities that I am a part of. Unitarian Universalism has been a welcoming place for me. Would it be for Audre, a Black, gender non-conforming lesbian, child of Caribbean immigrants, worked night shifts and factory jobs to pay her way through college? Nowadays, I can claim so many ancestors in my chosen families of Unitarian Universalism and the communities of gender and sexual difference. And I wonder, who are the ancestors that give you courage, that reveal to you your power? How did you discover them? And what does their life ask of you?
Where I'm from. I am from Cabbage Patch Kids, from call waiting and dial-up internet. I am from the textured walls and the creaky wood floors, scraped and refinished by hand, a whole family project. I am from the red maple leaves in the fall and the tall pine tree tucked against our house, whose branches reach to the ground, creating a cozy hideout that I made my own. I am from long car rides to Chicago and leisurely canoe rides on the lake, from potlucks and rise up singing. I am from Sunday morning donuts and chalice lightings, from Spirit of Life, and from you I receive. I am from not saying the Lord's Prayer, from teenage Catholic praise band and watching communion from the pews. When I think about where I am from religiously, my born and raised Unitarian Universalism is only a part of that story. There was also the faith, or lack thereof, of my grandparents. One side German Catholic, and the other committed atheist and agnostic. My dad spent his high school years in seminary studying to be a Catholic priest and making up sins for weekly confession. My mom, raised by that atheist and agnostic, thought for a time that most people in the world were Jewish, because that's what all her friends were. I have inherited it all, the heady skepticism of agnosticism and the sensory love of incense and sacred space, that inclination towards religious vocation, and a slight embarrassment to be associated with anything called church. There are some things I love about this legacy and others that I'm not sure I want to pass on. I want to give my kids the best of it all. A healthy skepticism with room for the mystery and wonder of the world. And I also know that I don't get to choose what they will remember, what they will hold on to from all of this. As the kids of a minister, they will surely not listen to everything I say when it comes to church, if they listen to anything at all. And yet, they will take it all in, absorb it into their bones, no matter how hard they try not to, just as I did. These histories, they cling to us, passed down generation to generation, no matter how hard we try to resist. I am from frugality and family, from Whipple and Walcott and Wolfe. I am from way too much education, from scholarships and sacrifice, from books stuffed into every corner they fit. I am from stoicism and quiet love, from depression and anxiety, from learning to talk about our feelings one generation at a time. I am from Minnesota and Austria, not Germany, from English breakfast tea and Spritz cookies at Christmas time. I am from patriots and loyalists, colonizers and immigrants, from generations trying to make a better life for their children, not always considering the consequences for others. From generations trying to create a better world, and sometimes making mistakes. My grandmother came of age during the Great Depression. The daughter of immigrants, she was meant to be the first in her generation, the first generation to go to college in her family. But the money was lost to the Depression, and so she moved to the city and became a pizza waitress instead. Just one generation later, her son, my father, earned a PhD. For so long, we have lived with the ideal of trying to make a better life for our children. That ideal of upward mobility, the promise of the so-called American dream. There is nothing wrong with this ideal in theory, but there are certainly ways in which its impact has been devastating. From colonialism to climate change, the ethos of eternal progression has often left casualties in its wake. It is said that my generation is the first to live without the promise of a better life than our parents. For my own kids, I hope only that our planet survives long enough to see them grow old. And who knows what mistakes we are making today that generations later will have to contend with. What will they look back on and wonder, how did we not see it coming? What devastations are we creating unwittingly as we strive for a better future? Like our ancestors, we do not know what we are truly leaving behind. We can only hope that our efforts toward a better future are not in vain, that we are passing on at least a little light to those who follow. I am from black and white photographs, lovingly taken by my grandfather, filling albums and walls, offering a glimpse into his perspective. From recipes passed down by my grandmother, showing her love through abundant sustenance for all. From wondering how I will be remembered. From trying not to repeat the mistakes. From doing the best that I can. You have heard stories from a few of us today. And now I want to invite you all into writing a poem together, Where We Are From. We Are From, by the congregation. We are from long telephone cords stretched into the coat closet. We are from books and a gnarled old apple tree. We are from an attic bedroom where I cuddled with my mom. From slide carousels and piano. We are from a dulcimer hanging on the wall with plants growing through it. From bicycles and Christmas trees. We are from a rocking horse, watching fireworks from the roof, from filled mudrooms, and Dad's den with books from floor to ceiling. We are from weekly readers and books of the month, from an antique clock that chimes. We are from a vent in the floor where we all cuddled to get warm, from handcrafted Harman Kardon turntable and speakers playing jazz. We are from big, slobbery dogs and party line, from big, bright, flowery hallway wallpaper. We are from one-room schools, coal stoves, and dusting chalkboard erasers. We are from fuzzy, cuddly cats, from colored cardboard bricks to make castles for my action figures. We are from a record player that played the Beatles and musicals like Oklahoma. From hide and seek, Red Rover, dodgeball in the neighborhood. We are from paper food stamps, from bunk beds in a back porch. We are from 45 records, from front, side, and back porches and lots of pets. We are from giant boulders in the yard which we made into homes, from where talk about cars was never ending. We are from 10 generations of New Englanders. We are from. We are from. We are from homes full of family on holidays.
Our closing words are by Chris Rothbauer. This morning, we remember those who have come before us. Some have left examples for us to follow, others lessons for us to learn from. And the paradox is that many have left pain and joy. We honor our ancestors this morning, not because they are perfect, but because without them, we would not be here, together, sharing our joy, our pain, our living, and our dying. Please join in singing our song for parting.